Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're just kind of working on a little project here and just kind of using up some scraps of rebar. And what I'm trying to do here is, see, it doesn't want to fit inside my square tubing. So what I'm trying to do is, I kind of started on it because I'm still using some of my Harrow bars and stuff like that, and a little bit better than 2 feet wide. But I just take these ribs off just so I can get my square tubing inside. So what's going to happen is I'm going to make one for the top of my panels, so I can drop it in, and kind of a spreader bar keeps the laneway spread apart. So I'm going to have one on the top side. And the way I run my tubing on my panels, the outside tube is always up and down, so it's exposed. I've got a hole on top and bottom. So I'll put one on the bottom and it'll be sticking up probably about 3 inches, I guess. That's why I'm using these longer chunks of scrap rebar. But I just need it so they pivot but not flop around. So I'm just taking these ribs off. So it's going to be a spreader bar, and I just turned it down a little bit, and I just sort of cleaned up these holes from the Harrow spikes. And so I just pounded it in. I just made it a tight, kind of a pressed fit, but I just pounded it with a hammer and then put it up against the straight edge so it'll be square. So at least now I can lay one on the ground and set 2 panels on top, and then once the ones on the bottom are there, then I can just put a spreader bar along the top, and then the panels don't want to spread apart when I'm doing my pens. Alright, so I just taken these chunks of rebar here and just trimming them off a little bit so it actually fits. Like, it's not exactly, some of them are, they're just sheared off, so I'm just trimming it off, but I'm just take some of these ribs off, and that's all I need, just a little bit of clearance, because otherwise these do not fit. I got to pound them in. I don't want to do that. I just wanted a loose fit. Uh-oh, stuck. Okay, we got it apart. But anyway, that's what the plan is with this, so we're going to start just kind of tromping away on this. At least on the upside, using the high-speed steel tool bits, it's not going to ruin my carbide inserts. Did I tighten this up? Apparently I didn't tighten that up. Let's try that again. There, that's better. Like I said, it smells like I got to take off a whole bunch. But I need to trim it all the way down along the edge here, so. And once I kind of press those pieces in, then all I end up doing is just kind of butt weld them in there. And I don't know if you guys can see, but it just, that's all I need to take off, just a couple thousandths, and that's it. So I'm gonna center drill this here just to, oh, come on, get out of there. Just so I can hang on to the end, because it's not exactly easy hanging on to the rebar the best of times. So I actually got lucky, this is sitting pretty centered. Close enough. Well, so like I said, it's one of those things like using scraps to make this kind of stuff. Okay, let's see how far I can go back here. Well, that'll work. Grab it by the end and tighten this down. Much better. Like I said, I'm not even wasting time to do the auto feed and just sort of I just got to take off some of those high spots. This will slide inside that tubing. So nothing real spectacular. Just I've made a few more panels there off camera there. Because I know I recorded one batch of 10, and I made two 12-foot panels now. The other ones I made 10 8-footers. Now I made two 12-footers, two 4-footers, and then I had some scrap tubing there, a little smaller, and I used some of my rods that I cut off the mesh panels to build the original panels. So I made some slightly shorter ones as long as the connector lengths are lined up. So it gave me another 7.5 feet worth of paneling with two small panels to do kind of for gate openings and stuff like that, but you all got the same height of standoffs, and that's going to be an ongoing because I still got, because with the 10 panels I used 5 mesh sheets, and then with actually 6 because I made 2 before, and then with these two 12-footers that used 2 more mesh panels to make the 2 4-footers to go along with it. So I also only used up 8 panels out of a bundle of 50, so I got 42 panel of sheets mesh to go on there. Oh, let's see how we're doing here, if it's going to slide on all the way. Nope, doesn't want to quite rotate. A little bit more. Again, it's one of those things, like, if I can make something out of all my scraps, instead of just sending them for scrap, it's kind of more useful for me anyway, because now I don't have to, buy stuff like that, and actually it's rebar, if you get a good chunk of rebar, it actually machines pretty easy, fairly high carbon steel, but it actually don't need no expensive insert tooling, but just a general grind on this here one. It'll definitely work anyway for what I'm doing with it. Rotate this around a little bit, just catching my Alright, we'll see how that fares out. It doesn't need to take off a whole bunch off of here. Yeah, it's not exactly a straight piece, but doesn't matter. As long as it slides inside my tubing, that's all I care about. There we go. That's all I need to deal with that. So what I'm going to do here now is going to shorten the thing up. See how yeah, close enough. Take my round nose one off here. Come on, let go. See how close I am. Piece here. Uh-oh. A little bit loose, don't matter. Took off a little too much. It would be nicer to have it pressed, but that's no big deal. I'll just set a magnet up on it and I weld it in. Or, better yet, because it doesn't really matter, I'll just trim this here off a little. Like I said, all these chunks of rebar are probably about an inch difference in length, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now try that for size. I might have reamed that hole out a little bit bigger too, so. Oh, a little bit more to sneak up on it. It's getting pretty close to where it was. I just left that little trace on there. A little bit more. 'Cause some of these holes are a little bit oddball size anyway. They're not necessarily uniform. That's why I'm sort of sneaking up on them. Because consider it used to be harrows, so some of the teeth wore out, and yeah, little tiny bit more. But yeah, otherwise, because all these holes are somewhat, or some are a little bit oblong or just slightly wore out. Let's see how that goes. I wonder, where's my little deburr? Clean out some of this. I think I had a little burr on there. Oh yeah, I can pound her in now. Okay, so that's good enough. And so there's my rod, and okay, I'm gonna bring you up to the other bench there. I'm gonna pound the thing in. Here, just kind of move you over here. There, you can see what's going on here, but I'll do like I did with the other one and just stuff her in the hole. And put her on the bench here. And then to top it off, pretty square. Just whap it down here just a little bit. My vise is in the way. Maybe we'll just try it on the other side. Perfect. Look like a couple of horns now. But yeah, one set's going to be up. One's going to be down. But yeah, so, okay, I'll take you guys over there. I'm going to make the other two, and then I'll take you over and I'll weld it up. Be back in a bit. There you guys, got my spreader bars. Turned those chunks of rebar down. And so now it actually fits my tubing, and I just got to weld them up now. And like I said, what I got in mind here, like, plus I've been kind of busy making more panels. I made a couple of 12-footers, and of course, some of the scrap stuff I had laying around. I figured I'd just make a couple of small panels, and these are all the leftover rods that I cut off the upper parts and the lower parts. Like down in here, because there was a rail across all the tops on all the panels, so I cut them off, and because I make the steel frames because it's easier for me to handle. And I've tried using these mesh panels, stapling them up to fence posts, but they get destroyed over time. And when I start making them like this, they seem to last for years. Like some of my panels are 15 years old already, and they're still holding together, whereas some of the mesh panels I started off with, they got totally destroyed. And yeah, you rub on them, scratch on them, and then they get all banged up, and then they end up escaping. And apparently today I had a little issue where they kind of escaped into the field there up by the road, and apparently I forgot to closed one of the gates, and I went to let them out to graze, and all of a sudden they went tearing off across where they're supposed to graze, and all of a sudden, why are they heading off that way? All of a sudden I realized, oh shit, I forgot to close the gate. So needless to say, jumped the tractor because I can't run that fast to chase after him, and circled around. Fortunately, there was a big truck going down the main road, and kind of spooked him back towards the yard. And so I circled around with the tractor and got him back in about 5-10 minutes. So no harm, no foul, I guess. But yeah, with these scrap panels like this here one, like a little bit shorter, but still the height, like where my connector links are, like they're all set up. I purposely make spacings in here so it gives me room for uneven terrain and stuff like that, and I keep them sloppy. And then I use little chunks of rebar like this for the pins. I bend them over because this way it gives me a little bit more maneuverability as far as uneven terrain goes. But yeah, this here one panel, because these are old hydraulic lines from an old discer who got out back. But when I started making it, well, after I cut the uprights, had enough material for that, for the uprights, for 2 panels. But when I started making the width, I had enough to make 1 panel here. But this here one, I figured, well, it was a little on the short side, so there was a bend in it, and it had the threaded ends on them. So I used the existing coupler and I threaded together, then I cut it to length, because then right after this there was a basically 90-degree bend on it. So I hacked it off, and a little smaller tubing, and all these other connector links, I kind of parted out. There's a kind of a guard in front of my pickup on an old parts baler, so I hacked that all up, and that's where I got all these little 1-inch tubing. And it seems to work the best for me. These are actually too small for dealing with stuff like that, because then the pins get stuck. So I figure, let's see, there we go. That way it has a little bit of maneuverability, but that's what I've been up to. So my spreader bars, this is my proof of concept here. I just took one of those same bars, and I just put the hero spikes on there, but they're not long enough, especially on the bottom. It's only catching by about 2 inches, but it still would keep them from spreading it apart. Like when I got a gate panel there, and then I can terminate it and go around for my other catch pens. I just got it pinned on the end here, just so it doesn't fall over on me. But hey, I'm going to get after welding this up, and we'll show you how it's going to turn out. Okay, just gonna flip it over and do the bottom sides. That's why I turned the ends of these rebars and just pound them in, kind of held them in place, and plus it gives me a little nub sticking out the, kind of like a plug weld, except for your raised plug weld. Well, there we have it. But yeah, so this here is what the spreaders are going to be looking like. Actually, I should have ran a bead of weld on here too, on this here one. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not going to bother putting my thing back on. I just noticed I had a couple deep grind marks in here. There, that's better. Filled in those gaps. Yeah, just when I was salvaging out these hero bars, I kind of cut it down a little deep with the grinder, but yeah, otherwise, I think hopefully I still stayed relatively square anyway, just sort of Yep, didn't pull in at all since I go in round and round. Alright, well, I guess I'll turn you guys around here and I'll show you how this is actually going to work here now. See if I can actually get the whole, I'll back it up here a bit so you can kind of get a better idea what's going on here. Yeah, so I gotta be careful, these things are hot. So now I can actually pin up these ear panels in here, because I can set it up in different positions. I can cut it way over to here. Now that this here one's attached, I can pull this here one out. And it also will leave me the other ones. Oh, if I just can get away here. Doesn't really matter which way I go, but so now if a spread bar like that there would actually be open, this would actually be my laneway to stay into my divide or my separator gate. So now I hold these here panels, the laneway intact there. So now I can direct them down this laneway here, and it keeps it from spreading apart on me. And yeah, these gates are a little long, but I can, let's say even on this here one, say if I want to move it over, have other panels like this here, that's why I put the double rings in there. So now in a case like this, I can still have an extra gate that I can open up. And I can still kind of close them in there if I have to put a hook in there, but otherwise I can have some other panels go in the other direction, but at least I got a way of redirecting them. And these are only 4-foot panels, but I'll probably have some 8-footers in there, so I got a little bit of a laneway where I can say feed through 3 or 4 at a time, close this off, so now I can just pretty much, even just the way it's sitting, I can actually lock it in like with these here pins. You know, put one on top and one in the bottom, so I automatically got some locking mechanism. But other than that, I think it's going to suffice a nice addition to my handling system. Because yeah, we've got, I think the 20th of this month, we got to load up for, well, I got to be down there, like load up first thing in the morning on the 20th and drop in the afternoon there. We got like a 3-hour drive. And yeah, hopefully things work out. But yeah, I've been working on this kind of a handling system for a while now. It's time consuming. And so I'm hoping my new separator or my divider or sorting gate is going to work out. I think it's going to work out good because I'll put a couple of 8-foot panels and I've got enough panels I think now to make my couple of catch pens so I can run them through the little laneway in here, and then now we can decide, okay, which ones stay in, which ones are going to the auction, and then route them back. And if we happen to miss one, well, we can always run them through again. It's just easier than trying to chase them into a pen and try to catch them and throw the ones you're keeping out of your pen. send them off to pasture or whatever, and then corner off the ones that are going. Yeah, slowly, it takes time, like it's really expensive to buy a complete handling system, so I've been kind of making mine kind of modular where I can rearrange it, and then like once the bunch goes in, they're starting to run out of grazing already, but there's a bunch of grass in the yard like that they could be grazing, but it's all wide open, so they'll more likely escape. I don't want to trust using the electric fence, so run them into catch pens. I think I've got enough panels to probably do about 2,000 square feet, so then I could just put them all in the pen and then just keep moving them down the lawn so they can mow the grass for me. Well, that's energy efficient. But anyways, I hope you guys kind of like this sort of stuff. Yeah, sorry it's been a little slow on getting videos out, but when I'm doing repeat stuff, that's why I didn't video making these here panels, because you guys already had the one video of me fabricating all these panels. Like the last batch I made 10 of them. There was 8 footers. This time I wanted some 12 footers because I got some gate openings that I need some 12 footers for anyway. And it's always nice having some 4 footers when I got to do stuff like this, or if I just got to close off a little area, or my deflector, like for my directional flow, whatever, to go to the next pen. I always need a few walk-in gates along the way, so you're not fighting big heavy panels. They're not that heavy. Even the 12 footers, I can pick them up by myself and walk with them. The 8 footers are easier. The 16 foot, that's a 2-person operation. Or stick them on the forks of the tractor and carry them out that way. But anyways, so yeah, hope you like this kind of stuff, and yeah, that was kind of the gist of this. I'm going to try out these here spreader bars. Like I said, I use those harrow teeth to start with. I wanted to see if it was actually going to work. And yeah, pretty much I just stuck the teeth in here, tightened up the bolts, and but yeah, you can see obviously they're not long enough, because especially on the bottom, you'd only end up catching about 2 inches. That's why it wouldn't work. But I had those long chunks of rebar, just they're a little too heavy to fit inside the tubing, but now it fits in there, and the worst case scenario, if you've got to walk down the laneway, you've got to duck your head, but it's kind of freestanding that way. It won't get spread out and tip over, and I'll see how that works. And I may make a few other spreader bars if I need longer runways or something like that, just to kind of, that way they freestand. I don't have to zigzag the panels so much. Then this way they'll kind of freestand, and be the fact it's fairly solid, and like since I got almost a good foot of rebar in there, so they shouldn't tip over anyway. But yeah, the bottom one is just like the way they have them on those construction panels. They just have those studs sticking up, and that's how those panels freestand. You got little legs underneath there, kind of crosswise, and that keeps them from tipping over. But yeah, kind of the same ordeal. But yeah, but anyways, we'll call this here an end to this, and I'll bring you guys back when I have something more exciting to deal with. And like I said, I'm not sure from one day to the next what I'm doing, and sometimes it's repeat stuff, so I'm not going to keep videoing the same thing over and over again. That's why I didn't deal with this when I was building these, but I figured, okay, this is a little different. Yeah, it's still part of the system, but putting these spreader bars on is kind of a little bit of a game changer. But I'll see how it works in reality when we're loading out on the 20th there. And if it works good, I'll probably make a couple more pairs. And yeah, just using the harrow crossbars, and got scraps of rebar. Like, seems like that's just kind of my whole theme. If I can make something out of my scrap, yeah, it's better than hauling it away and taking it to the scrap yard and getting it melted down. But if I got a use for the metal, well, I might as well make something out of it. Makes my life easier anyway, because I'm getting too old to be chasing them around. Like I said, better use the tractor. It goes faster than what I can run. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.